Do not join independent clauses by a comma. If two or more clauses, grammatically complete and not joined by a conjunction, are to form a single compound sentence, the proper mark of punctuation is a semicolon. Stevenson's romances are entertaining. They're full of exciting adventures. Okay, this comes up a lot. Um, this definitely, it's all about the fact that these clauses are grammatically complete. If they're independent sentences, if they can create independent sentences all by themselves, then it's a semicolon, never a comma. Stevenson's romances are entertaining, period. They are full of exciting adventures, period. Do those make sense? Yes, then okay, then you can use a semicolon. But you can't use a comma because it's a new subject. Um, if you added words like, while Stevenson's romances are entertaining, comma, they are they also possess a lot of slow character development, or a lot of you know um, they also feature a lot of character development in less uh, exciting that's featured in less exciting ways, or whatnot. Um, uh, Essentially, just to clarify, if these two sentences are complete sentences on their own, then it's not going to be comma. It's definitely going to be a semicolon. It is nearly 5:30. Period. We cannot reach town before dark. Period. If those make sense as independent clauses, then that's going to be a semicolon, not a comma. Comes up a lot. Um, Now, if remember, if you add words like, if it is nearly 5:30, comma, then we cannot reach town before dark. Period. If you change the phrases and the words, it can be a comma, but you can't just have these simple sentences, these simple grammatically complete clauses, and that have their own subject verb already. We or it. I mean, they're you know, and yeah, you can't have a comma. It's got to be a semicolon. It is, of course, equally correct to write the above as two sentences each, replacing the semicolons by periods, which we just did. So if they can make sense with periods, then you should use either a period or a semicolon. If a conjunction is inserted, the proper mark is a comma. Okay. Stevens' romances are entertaining for, remember, conjunctions are fanboys. For and nor, but, or, yet, and so. Fanboys. Stevenson's romances are entertaining, comma, for they are full of exciting adventures. Then you can add a comma instead of a semicolon. It is nearly 5:30, comma, and we cannot reach town before dark. Makes it a little bit easier. A comparison of the three forms given above will show clearly the advantage of the first. It is, at least in the examples given, better than the second form, because it suggests the close relationship between the two statements in a way that the second does not attempt, and better than the third because briefer and therefore more forcible. Indeed, it may be said that this simple method of indicating a relationship between statements is one of the most useful devices of composition. The relationship, as above, is commonly one of cause or consequence. Note that if the second clause is preceded by an adverb, such as accordingly, usually it ends in an ly, besides, then, therefore, thus, not by conjunction, the semicolon is still required. That makes sense. Especially when you're using these types of phrases, accordingly, besides, then, therefore, because you're showing progression, sort of like cause and effect, but they're also independent clauses, so they make sense as independent sentences, but one sort of follows the other. Two exceptions to the rule may be admitted. If the clauses are very short and are alike in form, a comma is usually permissible. Man proposes, God disposes. The gate swung apart, the bridge fell, the portcullis was drawn up. Yes, and look how short these phrases are. They're pretty alike in form. Man proposes, God disposes. Subject, verb, etc. The gate swung, the bridge fell, the portcullis was drawn up. Note in these examples, relation is not of cause or consequence. Also, in the colloquial form of expression, colloquial meaning sort of like everyday language, just everyday banter. I hardly knew him, he was so changed. Because it's sort of, it's not formal. It just means more informal. Um, a comma than a semicolon is required. But this form of expression is inappropriate in writing, except in the dialogue of a story or play, or perhaps in a familiar letter. Exactly, or an email for all of us, post 1918, yeah. So it's all about, he's talking about this form of expression is inappropriate in academic writing, and that's what we're talking about here. A lot of this is academic writing, which journalism is still considered academic writing. Articles that you read in newspapers and periodicals and online. I mean, they really should focus on academic writing, quality writing. Some don't they don't really follow it as much, or they're you can find a lot of errors, and that's why, not to be not to be so harsh against those websites, but I just think it's important that, especially when you're young, and you're still sort of acquiring knowledge in the English and communication realm, um, it's really important not to go to the weakest venues. Um, you want to go to where there are going to be very, very, very few mistakes. And that's why I have specific recommendations with regards to different texts, etc. Dictionaries are helpful, thesauruses are helpful. The classics in terms of literature, very helpful. There's a reason why they're classics. I mean, they've been vetted. Millions and millions and millions of people have vetted these classics, and the same books keep coming up over and over and over. What does that mean? That means that there are zero misspellings in these books. I'm not going to be too superlative. I know I tend toward a little bit of hyperbole at times, um, and superlative at times, but I get excited. I get excited because I do know that garbage in, garbage out, as you might have heard from your parents or your grandparents or your guardians. Um, if you only eat junk, it's gonna be, your output's gonna be junk, and that's the same with knowledge. So, highly recommend that you read quality material, and as well, you look at books. This is why we're going over this book and not the other 95 books that are about grammar. This is the classic, and I think it's worthy of study. Thank you very much.